Today we're looking at an all-in-one that really can game. I love all-in-ones because I think that they are a hidden gem for people who are just trying to get some office work done, but also people who want to do some light gaming. Maybe it's a family PC. They're actually way better than you may think, and it comes with everything you need in the box. So we're gonna unbox it, we're gonna play games on it, but first, a word from today's sponsor.
If you're anything like me, you're probably keeping an eye on the latest hardware and good deals. And the best place to go for those is today's video sponsor, Micro Center. One thing I always recommend checking out is the Micro Center news. They regularly cover new product launches, industry updates, build guides, and other tech topics, making it a great resource for enthusiasts and builders alike. And speaking of Micro Center updates, both Texas and Ohio have some exciting things coming. Austin, Texas is getting a brand new Micro Center location, and if you sign up ahead of time, you'll be able to claim a free 128GB flash drive when the store officially opens. Meanwhile, Micro Center's Columbus, Ohio location is preparing a grand reopening, and they're also offering a free 128GB flash drive there as well. And while you're checking those out, don't forget to look at Micro Center's laptop savings event. They've got discounts across a huge range of laptops, whether you're looking for a gaming machine, a content creation workstation, or just an everyday laptop that won't break the bank. One deal I saw is this HP Omen 16 Slim with an Ultra 7 225H processor, 32GB of DDR5 RAM, and RTX 5070 for just $1,500. To learn more about the store events, deals, and everything else Micro Center has going on, check out the links in the description down below. Big thanks to Micro Center for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it.
So we paid $582 for this all-in-one from HP. Now, we actually bought this on eBay from Prycedin, and there's quite a few of these available, by the way. We didn't just get some crazy one-off deal. There are plenty of these, and what's crazy is the spec configuration of this. You guys know RAM and storage, really expensive, right? Well, what's crazy about this one is this is the newest all-in-one we've looked at. It actually has one of those new Ryzen AI CPUs or APUs, and it's actually the Ryzen AI 340, which is really popular in laptops, and I think a lot of the handhelds actually use that same one. It has the Radeon 840M graphics, $582. It comes with DDR5 RAM, dual channel, by the way. The other thing it comes with that's really crazy is a 1TB NVMe SSD. I don't know if it's Gen 4 or not. I've been pretty shocked about these things before. Now, Prycedin, they're a huge eBay seller. If you didn't know, they're probably like one of the biggest tech sellers on eBay. They're actually like a certified refurbisher for Microsoft, and the exact model of this is the 24CT200 or 2000M. And you get things like a screen. You get a 23.8-inch screen that's measured diagonally. It's an IPS display, which is really cool. We also get a set of speakers. Should be pretty solid. Usually HP makes some good speakers. We get a built-in webcam, and these usually come with the keyboard and mouse. Sometimes they're even wireless. So we get a metal plate, metal stand, pretty heavy. It does look like we have wireless peripherals. We'll see if both are wireless. There's our power brick. We got our mouse there. When you really think about how much the peripherals cost you, I mean, Matt and I, we're always doing these like $400 or $500 gaming PCs where sometimes they're custom, sometimes they're just old office PCs, and then we game on them. We don't talk about the peripherals. I mean, we're using our nice like Hall effect keyboard. We're using our mini LED monitor that's like a $600 monitor. People don't really often think, or at least we don't think about it, I think. Whenever we build a PC, you gotta buy peripherals too. And I think that's what's really cool about these all-in-ones is not only do you not have to buy them, you don't have to set anything up. They literally just come ready to go. And that is like the main drawback, you know, with one of these is there's not much upgrade path. You usually can upgrade the RAM and storage. You can't upgrade the screen. You can add a second screen typically. So I guess if you had a really good all-in-one, you could always get like a semi-higher for like, you know, 144 hertz monitor. It's really, they're kind of like a laptop where you buy them, they are what they are. They're the spec config that you buy, you get what you get. And that's why you watch videos like this, because you may find this actually does all of like the office work that you need to do during the day. And then at night when it's time for gaming, it'll play The Sims and like Team Fortress and CS, you know, 2 games like that. That's what we're going to be testing, obviously. The back here, we got a good little port selection. What's cool is we actually have a bunch of charging, well, sorry, there's one charging USB 3, and then we have a high-speed USB 3 and some USB 2s. These are actually both 5GB per second. Combo headphone jack. We do have our power port here, which is a tiny little barrel jack. Gigabit Ethernet. HDMI out. This should be able to carry up to 4K, and I think if you can do high refresh rate as well with it. And then this is also a 5GB per second USB 3. And then the webcam, I always love this style. It's like this. I think that's pretty sleek. You'd hope that the webcam looks really good though, right? Because that's huge. You can see we have little microphones there. The speakers are actually down-facing speakers. We've had some really cool looking ones where they're like front-facing and they're like pretty loud. I don't know about this one yet. We'll have to give it a go. But this is a newer one. This is the newest one that we have actually seen. And like I said, Prycedin was pretty good about talking about the specs. They said it was dual channel DDR5. They said it was a 1TB NVMe, 16GB DDR5, and I don't know the speed or anything. It's probably SODIMM. It's usually what these are. These usually are basically laptop boards stuffed behind a monitor. Another cool thing, this one doesn't have. A lot of them are VESA mountable. This one doesn't appear to have it, so you would need some type of special adapter if you wanted to VESA mount it and not use the stand. All-in-ones are really good for like, you know, kiosks and stuff like that. We actually have an all-in-one as the last all-in-one video we did. It is up front at PC Bro. Pros, and that is a flight simulator for RC flight, you know, trying out little RC planes. It has a full-time RC controller hooked up to it, always ready to go, and it's pretty cool. Okay, so that's a little clip mechanism. Look, toolless. This is weird. That's the top.
That's the top?
Yeah.
Whoa.
This is the, now, you know what's funny? This is like what I was saying, the speaker.
Yeah,
the speaker grill material.
lower mesh area. So
which HP normally does.
They transferred it onto the base.
And obviously it has some basic, it can just tilt. It can't do any side to side. It can't go up and down. No, that's the one downside with it, but it has good height to it actually. Most monitors sit a little bit lower typically. Wireless HP mouse, just on off button.
It doesn't look like the best sensor. Look at that tiny little thing.
Yeah, probably pretty bad. And I wouldn't be surprised if one or both the peripherals we don't use for actual gaming, but we'll test them out, and if they work decent, I'll use them for gaming. I think the last one, they worked really well, so I think I used the keyboard. I think the mouse is a little iffy. Nothing fancy. I mean, you don't expect, you're not buying this as a gaming PC, but that's what we do here. We take everything we can that's not meant to game, and we usually always try to game on it. But on paper, with the 840M graphics, the last one we looked at had the 7730U, which was an 8-core 16-thread. This is less cores and threads, 6-core 12-thread, but the 840M graphics are immensely newer compared to the Vega 7 or Vega 8 graphics that had. These graphics should be a lot more powerful. Not to mention we have DDR5 RAM, which is a little faster. We have 1 terabyte of NVMe storage, which is just still, I think it's just still crazy. For 528 bucks, we're getting everything we need to get started. So let's just go ahead and plug it in and let's see what Windows and everything looks like. All right, so mouse is on. The keyboard, I bet, is one of those where it's always on, but it probably goes to sleep after like, 10 seconds of not typing. Okay, we plugged in our little dongle in the back. Okay, so there's no on off, but I'm noticing the caps, the little light isn't even doing anything, but the mouse is definitely on. Like it's set to the on. No, not that I can, oh wait, okay,
there you go.
We have light, but obviously I don't think we can use a mouse on this screen. Is that an on-screen keyboard? There's no way, right? I feel like a boomer doing that. Oh God, this is supposed to just work. We have keyboard now. Aha. There we go. So at least the USB is working. Yeah, apparently it's not hotspot USB right now. Once we get into Windows, we're gonna test out this keyboard and mouse again. Maybe it doesn't have the drivers to actually drive these USB devices. I don't know what it's doing now. I press enter. We'll give it a minute, I guess, and report back. We're gonna get into Windows and let's double check the specs, see if there's any bloatware on it too. So once we got into Windows, the keyboard and the mouse are both working great. So we got the Ryzen AI 5 340, 6 cores, 12 threads. We got base speed of 2 gigahertz. I don't really even know what this thing boosts to. I'll have to honestly check, but I know it's a solid CPU and very efficient. 16 gigs, dual channel, 5600 mega transfers, and it is SODIMM, so that's very good. We're not gonna have to upgrade that. We got a Samsung, the MZV MX 1 terabyte. Let's see what exactly that John is. That's gonna be crazy if that's like a Gen 4, dude. Well, actually, this might be able to use Gen 4. So if it was in there, we'd actually be utilizing it, you know? As long as this is the right one. OEM Gen 4 NVMe, designed for high performance laptops and gaming handhelds, which would kind of track. So that's really cool. I don't know what the read and write is on it, but it's Gen 4. So that means our games and everything's gonna load a little quicker. We do have gigabit Ethernet. We do have an NPU, which is obviously, you know, for your AI BS.
ChatGPT.
For your chat, you know. Now, we have no graphics card. It does use Radeon 840M graphics because this is an APU. So we have Radeon, you know, trademark graphics, and it does use, it looks like we get a dedicated half a gig of VRAM, which is pretty standard. But then if you notice, it can share up to 7.6 gigs, which is great. So it'll have all the page filing that it needs to be able to run games, because as you can see, just in Windows, we're using pretty much all of the dedicated half gig that we get. No bloatware, by the way. I mean, this is like a very fresh, this is how PC Bros would install Windows. Very fresh. Couple of things, like we'll get rid of OneDrive, we'll get rid of like the App Store, stuff like that. And then I want you guys to hear the speakers. So right now, we're on full blast. All right, here we go. You ready? I mean, it kind of bumps actually. It's got a pretty good sound profile. It's not super flat, pretty solid sound. So we are rocking 1080p, and yeah, 60 hertz. 60. I mean, and we'll double check. We're gonna go through and do all the drivers and stuff. Should be really easy. We can really just do Windows updates, and that should give us all the drivers we need. Worst case, we'll install AMD Control Center, but I'm gonna get some games downloading on it. We'll do 3D Mark. Oh, we're gonna do webcam test too. So actually, let's do that real quick before we do all that. Let's see. Okay, we're facing the wrong way. Technically, normally we should be back there because our studio lights are behind us. So lighting's not gonna be the greatest, but yeah, a little 30 FPS.
Focus? Not too bad.
Not terrible.
No, it's passable, and we're looking at, it's a little grainy, but it's on a giant screen, so.
We're used to seeing half the screen size when we watch these back.
Smooth, looks pretty good. Yeah. Ready for a sound test?
3, 2, 1. Ah! Okay, so we did our video test. It sounds pretty good. So now we talked about the specs, we talked about the video, all that stuff. Let's actually do some gaming on it. All right, guys, we are starting off this gaming run on the all-in-one. We got some good games lined up. We got some easy to play ones and even some hard to play ones. And we're starting things off, we're kind of the middle of that. This is a game called Peak. It's a really fun indie game where you climb mountains with your friends. And we're actually running, I'm gonna call it some okay settings. It doesn't look the prettiest, but we're at 1920 by 1080p. So that's gonna be the key for some of these games, is if you wanna get higher numbers, you're gonna either need to lower the render scale like I've done here, or just lower the native res. As you can see, we're running the game at pretty low settings. I mean, we could lower the res. There's a couple of things we could turn off or turn to low. As you can see, the game already doesn't look the most amazing though, but we're getting 80 FPS. We're getting, looks like 1% lows around like the 60s. We're getting highs up into the 112s. Not bad. This is one of those games, by the way, that when it generates new parts of land, you get some load-ins. That happens even on my 5080 PC at home. We got our everything happening up top. We're using 12 of our 15.1 gigs of RAM available. You can see our VRAM, we're way over half a gig, and it's borrowing from our actual RAM. That's totally normal. That's called page filing, page pooling. Basically, we're borrowing RAM for VRAM. It's not as fast, not as efficient, but it works. But yeah, I mean, totally playable. This is one of those games you can play with your friends and be very happy with. The sound's really good on this too, by the way. The speakers, very dynamic sounding. They have really good range, good mids. I'm overall pretty happy with it. Screen looks pretty good. This is not the best test of how good the screen looks, because like I said, this game's it's surprisingly demanding for what it is. A lot of PCs we test here that are like on the budget side, we have to run this at like lower settings usually to get 80 plus FPS. But looking pretty good so far. Let's go ahead and go to the next game. All right, guys, check it out. Apex Legends, and we're currently at 1080p. I got high hopes for this one. Apex is technically like a AAA esports title. We're running the game at basically the lowest settings we can, but still 1080p. This game, we're not doing any type of adaptive res or anything. I had high hopes for it. It's not looking great, but let's give her a go at this res. The game doesn't look amazing right now. It's a little bit, you know, grainy, but that's just what low settings looks like. Right now, we're kind of getting like old console experience, like 30 FPS. I'm glad it's playing it. We're not crashing or anything. You can see now we're borrowing, we're at 3.2 gigs of VRAM. So we're borrowing like, what, 2.5 gigs, maybe a little more, which by the way, I have to say these wireless peripherals really are not bad for gaming, surprisingly. They're not good. Like, I would never pick these if it were my choice, but I'm surprised that I'm actually able to play. I'm definitely glad to see that. Yeah, we definitely got a little bit of latency in this game. This is gonna be hard to get some good kills in, and okay, there it goes. Yeah, this may be one that we might try 720p. It's not gonna look great, but I think we can get a locked 60 FPS if we do that. I still think this is the best all-in-one experience we've had so far. I can hit this guy. I can hit these guys. I can't hit these guys. All right, let's try this. So we're not changing the native desktop res, we're just changing the game res. So technically, if we went down to 720p on the desktop, it'd run even better. Okay, 720p, it looks horrible. I will say the peripherals, I don't know if it's the peripherals or the PC, there's definitely some latency there. It's probably a mix, honestly. These peripherals are probably running at like, if I had to guess, like 200 hertz, if I had to guess. So like instead of 8K hertz, you know, or 1K hertz that you're used to, they're probably like, yeah, they're probably like a couple hundred genuinely. I doubt they're even 1K polling rate, and that's pretty normal with cheaper things like this. All right, I mean, hold up, like, I'm kind of clapping now a little bit. It might not be that bad. It might not be that bad. Yeah, it doesn't look great, but I think this is the most playable Apex has ever been on an all-in-one for us, so pretty clean. All right, that's Apex Legends. Let's go on to another game. You all know I had to throw it back with a little Team Fortress 2. This one's gonna be pretty impressive because it's a pretty old game. I will say, we are running actual 1080p, and we got the game maxed out. It's always fun to be able to max out a game. You know, even if it's an old one, it really doesn't look bad. We're getting, you know, 70 plus FPS. It's smooth. Not getting any lockups or anything. This is a good example of the kind of games that this would be great for. You know, an all-in-one, doesn't really matter what you're on as long as you're able to play it. Left 4 Dead, any of those orange box games, Left 4 Dead, Team Fortress 2, Half-Life, Portal, any game that's really made before, just like 2014, this all-in-one should run amazing. Obviously, a lot of new games too. You guys gotta remember, there's like 100,000 games out there on Steam. It's not just those typical, you know, Call of Duty and Battlefield and Apex. Like, there's so many more games than that. It's just those are the games people talk about. So, you know, get out there, try some of those free-to-play games. Something like this all-in-one, if you guys already have it, or you just need like a little family PC, maybe recommend this one to your parents, you know, or your significant other, whoever needs a nice work PC that can do a little bit of gaming, you know, go for it. But yeah, there's times where we're even getting like 100 FPS. And once again, these peripherals are very impressive. This is just a 60 hertz screen. Some of these games we are getting like 100 FPS, and they would actually look really good if we were just able to get You know, even like a nice like 80 hertz refresh rate, or obviously 100 hertz would be amazing. If we could even just get like a 100 hertz display, this thing would look so good. But hey, the 60, it looks good. It's IPS, so really vibrant colors, not OLED or anything, but you're also not paying OLED price. That guy just freaking wrecked me. But Team Fortress 2 looking really good. We got another kind of esports-esque game up next, and then we're gonna talk about some built-ins. All right, we got some Rocket League for you guys because this is a game that just makes sense to play on this bad boy. And we are currently at full 1080p. Here's the settings. We're basically running everything on performance, like high performance. We're actually not running the lowest settings by any means. This actually doesn't look too bad. Normally, we have to run this game at like really low settings and like the handhelds and stuff. I can deal with this. I'm just gonna keep getting scored on. That's my goal. I'm trying to help people and pay it forwards. I wanna give people goals today. 140 FPS with, you know, with 1% lows and like the 40s, but we're not really seeing those stutters. We're getting pretty crazy highs. We're seeing like up to like 400s at times. It's pretty crazy. This one, as you can see, is borrowing a little bit less VRAM overall. Yeah, dodge that, busta, and then I can't do anything with it because I'm bad. And I lied, by the way. I do actually have one more game. It's Fortnite. I don't know how I forgot that I downloaded it. Oh, he demoed me? What? There's my one goal. And now we forfeit. We give him the match. All right, so we're gonna try out Fortnite now. As you guys can see, Rocket League actually ran really good. We know this APU pretty well. It's been in a lot of the handhelds. It's been in a lot of the mini PCs and laptops as well that we've been looking at recently. A lot of the newer, nicer ones that don't have graphics cards. So pretty good, Fortnite. All right, this is for reals, the last benchmark. We are playing Fortnite. I feel like we couldn't test like an all-in-one or really any low-end system without playing Fortnite. Obviously, we got tiny little FPS up here, so just do the best you can to follow along, but I'll kind of tell you what's happening along the way. Right now, we're getting about 30 to 50 FPS on the drop here. A little bit of fluctuations, no lockups or anything though. Looking pretty good so far. Now, let me show you guys these settings real quick before we get murked by someone. So we're actually doing 1080p, and we are in the DX, or we're in performance mode with pretty much everything low, or as low as it can go or off. It doesn't look bad at all right now. We are running full render scale. At least I believe we are. I mean, it looks really good for performance mode, like pretty much 1080p. We'll check that here in a second. Right now, after we've dropped, we're getting 70s and 80s. We're getting some 1% lows, it looks like, of like 50s, like 55, now it's 59, 60. This is definitely the most playable. I mean, I know I've said that multiple times, but I just want that to be ingrained in your all's memory or in your head that this is definitely like the best experience we've had with an all-in-one so far. Yes, we were at 100% render res, cool. And we didn't even have dynamic on. So yeah, we were getting 80s. I mean, no problem. You guys get the idea. It actually looked really good, and it actually ran at 1080p native, as did pretty much all these games. So let's go ahead and do these built-in benchmarks, wrap the video up. So I can officially say after benchmarking, this is the best all-in-one that we've ever seen, or at least the best one we've seen in a long time, and it didn't absolutely break the bank. There are more expensive all-in-ones out there, but at that point, you're really just getting things like extra storage and extra RAM, and honestly, some weird like Ultra 7s and stuff like that. I don't think would really perform much better in gaming, maybe a few FPS, and realistically, this one for 580 bucks, when you're getting a screen, you're getting Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, wireless keyboard, wireless mouse, tilt and height adjustable, it has USB ports and everything you need on it. I mean, it's literally a full PC with the camera and speakers even. It may not be designed for gaming, but clearly after the benchmarks, we can see it does game. And we ran some other built-in benchmarks as well. Now you guys are gonna love this. In 30 mark time spy, we actually were able to run it. We got a total score of 1,430, which is definitely not our lowest score. The GPU got 1,269. The CPU actually got 5,104. Now that does end up being a 41 cent per point score, but that's actually almost triple the score that a Ryzen 7520U laptop got, and it's almost triple the score of that laptop we did with the Ryzen 5 40. We had to run Counter-Strike 2, of course. We did 1080p, low settings, and we got an average of 111 FPS with a 1% low of 68 FPS. And then the last benchmark we ran for fun was Operation Repo, 1080p at the max settings, and we got an average of 94 FPS, a 1% low of 73 FPS. And you gotta have expectations. So as long as you're not trying to throw Forza Horizon 6 at like max settings at this, or any like newer AAA titles, if you're just into esports and indie games, this thing is actually really good for those. And if you want to try to stretch into some of those nicer, harder to run games, if you're just willing to lower render scales or even lower resolution to 720p, I can almost guarantee this will play them. But guys, we hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want us to review anything else quirky and fun like this, let us know down below, and we hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you check out our other two YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys in the next one. Peace out. So this all-in-one will be for sale at PCBros.tech. Yes, we do not just sell gaming PCs, we also sell office PCs, office laptops, office peripherals, you name it, we got it. But check out PCBros.tech and use code TOASTYBROS to save 3% on your next purchase. See you guys later, peace out.